Hi there. I'm going to review the movie Chronicle. I just saw it today. It's fresh in my mind. It's basically a drama slash horror slash suspense thriller. It's a movie about these three teenagers who make this discovery, and they end up having these superpowers, and they're going to learn how to use it and mostly how to control it. I'll just say right off, I hated this movie. It was awful. Okay, let's just start off with how these kids come about to get this power. Right? It's early in the movie. One of the kids discovers this hole in the ground. There's sounds coming out of it. So the three kids just go into this hole, and they come out of the hole, and we just accept that they have these powers. We don't know how they got it, why they got it. There's the story. There could have been a good story here, and how their powers came to be about, but no, they just have it. We accept it. Okay, fine. So we move on from there. So the rest of the movie is basically these three teenagers with these powers and what they're gonna do with it. Okay, we get no real side relationships going on here. No other real characters to know about. It's all on these three kids, and they're basically three dumb teenagers. I mean, they look dumb, act dumb. They get that stupid look, like they're high all the time, and they do what dumb teenagers do. First they're using their power and for silly pranks and everything, and we're supposed to laugh. I didn't find it entertaining. So as the movie gets on, and they're learning more and more how to use their powers, and things get darker and darker and more destructive. And first of all, I didn't really care about any of these characters. I didn't like anybody there. There's no one to root for. The only other characters we really know is one of the kids. He's got these parents. He's got a father who's an ex-fireman, and he's hurt on a job and living on disability, and he's a drunk and abusive and mad at the world. And his mother is very ill, and she's in bed all the time, and it's just a very sad and depressing, dysfunctional story here. Dysfunctional people. If I wasn't depressed in this movie, I was bored. Okay? I mean, there could have still been a good premise here. Even though they could have explored how they got their powers, they ignored that. Okay, they're going to take the route of what these kids can do with these powers. That could be interesting. Maybe they can do something imaginative, something positive. But no, none of that. They just go with the destructive route. And to me, they just stole a lot of ideas from other movies I've seen before. I mean, I see a lot of Superman 2 in here. I see some Carrie in here, the classic horror movie Carrie. There's a lot of that in here. There's some Cloverfield in here. Remember the movie shot in the camcorder? Now, because one of the teenagers here, he's chronicling his life through a camcorder, which means we see a lot of the movie through the view of the camcorder, which means a lot of shaking, which means you may get dizzy and get headaches like I was starting to get. I just didn't see the point of that. We don't know why the kid's doing that. He's just doing it. Okay, maybe they thought it was a good novelty of the movie. I didn't see any point to it. It's distracting and uncomfortable to watch. So you got that bad side of it. And as I said, there's no other real relationships going on, no other side stories. It's all about the teenagers and basically how destructive they're going to become. Well, at least some of them. So it gets darker and darker. And okay, if that's what you want to do and entertain us that way, let's see something we haven't seen before. Okay, but we don't. As I said, I've seen elements of all this stuff in other movies. I mean, they could have threw this movie together, and they probably did over a weekend. You know, that's how bad I thought it was. No imagination. You know, let's do something interesting with these kids and their powers. You know, don't just try to shock us with all this destruction stuff I've already seen before. I mean, it didn't work. It didn't work. I was bored, and if I took it seriously, I really would have been depressed. The audience I watched it with, there was a lot of chuckling during this movie, and this movie was in no way supposed to be comical. People were laughing because some of the scenes were just ridiculous. Ridiculous, and I didn't care about any of these characters. There was nobody to root for. So I was very disappointed in this movie. Very disappointed. And that's all I can say. I don't recommend this movie. I'd say skip Chronicle. Thanks for coming.